Thank you, Lorenzo. Good morning, everyone. It's an honor and a joy for me to be here and to have the opportunity to share with you a few thoughts about integrative oncology for the whole person and what I would call a multidimensional approach to care. Now, I'm just trying to see, where is the clicker? Okay, here we go. So, I think it's fair to say that we, especially those of us here today, are on the leading edge of a huge wave of transformation in medicine and healthcare. And it's certainly affecting all of us on many, many different levels. And as those of us here today also, I think, understand uniquely, a big part of this wave of transformation is that we're living at a time where millions and millions of people are now seeking an approach to medicine and healthcare that is more comprehensive, that's more holistic and integrative, and also, frankly, that's more compassionate and sensitive to their needs as a whole person. And this is especially true in oncology. So this morning, I'd like to begin by outlining briefly some of the major driving forces behind this wave. What's really happening? Where is this coming from? Then I want to talk a little bit about how far we have come as a field of integrative oncology and where we presently are as a field. Then I'm going to talk a little bit about the future and where we're going, or what I see as a evolving or emerging multidimensional approach to care, and highlight 5 of the key elements behind this. Then I'm going to briefly describe and just tell you a little bit about a working model of multidimensional medicine, and then finish up by highlighting what I think are 3 really important challenges and opportunities that are on the horizon for us all as we move forward. Okay, so the first question is, what are the driving forces behind this huge wave of transformation that's affecting all of us? Well, the first, obviously, or from my perspective, is that we're living in a country with an aging population. And this slide shows you the number of Americans over the age of 55, and we can see that we are in the midst, in fact, of a really dramatic increase over a 20-year period of time from 60 to 100 million Americans over the age of 55. This has never happened before in American history. Now, this is significant because, as we all know, cancer is a disease of aging, and 55 corresponds to this dramatic uptick in the curve of the incidence of developing cancers for both men and women. Now, the second driving force is that it's not just anybody getting older. It's, guess who? It's the baby boomers. Now, who are the baby boomers? Well, baby boomers are 77 million people born in the United States between 1946 and 1964. And just quickly curious, how many of you can relate in some way to this picture? Right, so you're among friends. Okay. How many of you actually saw Leave It to Beaver at least once? Come on, tell the truth. All right, I know I did. Now, Wally and Beaver were icons of the baby boom generation. Okay, now everybody take a deep breath, because in 2008, this year, Wally is now 62, and the Beav is 58. So these guys are now entering that time of life where they're getting their PSAs and their colonoscopies, and they're going to be developing cancer and heart disease and coming to guess who for help? That's right, all of us. Now, this is really very significant because Wally and Beaver's parents, and many of our parents, were part of the World War II generation. And they were raised to be stoic. I mean, that was the ethos and the credo of the World War II generation. But baby boomers were raised to be special. In fact, baby boomers want and expect almost everything in their life to be special. You think I'm kidding. When I was growing up, coffee came 2 ways, right? Black or with cream and sugar. Here's coffee for the baby boomer, low-fat mocha java grande latte with hazelnut syrup and extra foam. And I was amazed to see hazelnut syrup and vanilla syrup in the breakfast room next door. So this is very real. How about this? Growing up, we used to get ice cream 3 flavors, chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry. Baby boomers want 62 flavors of ice cream, and they want it either regular fat, low fat, or non-fat, or they feel deprived. And baby boomers are actually bringing this level of expectation into healthcare. This is a whole new era, and we are now fully in the era where patients have the identity of themselves as consumers. And this is also a very, very new and recent phenomenon. Third driving force is we're living in a time of just, exploding cultural awareness of health in general and cancer specifically, or what Newsweek magazine calls health for life, what every woman needs to know, your body at 20, 30, 40, 50, and beyond. It's a whole new expectation of being healthy for decades. The wellness industry in this country is now $500 billion a year and growing. And just about everywhere you look, there are books and articles and magazines on health and fitness for both men and women. Now, this awareness is extending beyond just health in general to cancer. And I think this is a really good development that finally, the taboo against talking about cancer has been broken. And there's a very important, kind of turning point in this. This is a number of years ago when Katie Couric's husband died of colon cancer, and she actually underwent a screening colonoscopy live on national television. I mean, just think about that, right? Toto, we are not in Kansas anymore. When we get to see the inside of Katie's, colon live on TV. We now know all about politicians' cancer. You'll recognize these gentlemen. We know all about celebrities' cancers. It's everywhere you look. It's also on the cover of major news magazines, and this one was just 2 weeks ago on U.S. News and World Report. This is also amazing. There are now at least 6 magazines devoted to the lay public that are specifically for people with cancer and their families. I mean, this is just unbelievable. Yet here we are. So this is the third driving force behind this wave. The fourth one is really also, I think, just so meaningful. We're so blessed to live at a time where there are unprecedented scientific and technological advances, particularly in oncology. Okay, we have better diagnostic techniques, things that are just really space-age technologies, new drugs, many, many new drugs, and classes of drugs that didn't even exist when I was a fellow with Dr. Abrams. Where is he? Right? And also, not to mention, when I went to medical school, and I'm sure many of us can relate to this, there are also far better radiation treatment technologies than existed, even just a short number of years ago. And all these things are leading to people living longer today with cancer than ever before. Now, the fifth driving force I got to mention, of course, is the exploding use of the internet. There are now 156 million Americans conservatively estimated to be using the internet, and 70 million have searched online for health information. There are 8 million people in America every day searching online for information as we speak. And this is significant in oncology because cancer patients are actually among the most active users of the internet. And some studies that I've seen report that up to 30 or 40% of patients and up to 60% of their companions use the internet. Now, the final one we're very familiar with here today, the increasing use of CAM, or what Life magazine calls the healing revolution. We're all familiar with these numbers. Over 60% of all Americans, by many studies, are reported to be using CAM. Up to 80% of all patients with cancer, and they're spending billions of dollars out of pocket. Now, I just want to review something that I think we're all familiar with, which is, why do people with cancer